Hi, and welcome to San Jacinto's Virtual Family Night 2021.
For tonight's presentation, we will be going over the expectations as a review that your student should be able to complete by the end of kindergarten.
My big list of kindergarten goals. On this slide, you can see the different expectations that we have for our kindergartners coming in. They should be able to write their first name, and then we'll help them with their first and last name. Leaving kindergarten, they need to know all 26 capital letters and lowercase letters, and they should also know their sounds. Also, by the end of kindergarten, they should be able to read CVC words like sad. They should also be able to clap out the syllables, recognize and produce rhymes, and all along through kindergarten, we will be reading sight words, which are words that they should be able to read by memory. So by the end of kindergarten, they should know about 30. Also, at the end of kindergarten, they should be able to write a whole sentence, including a capital letter at the beginning and punctuation at the end. We also learn 2D shapes, 3D shapes, counting to 100 by ones and tens, telling which group is more and which group is less. And they should also be able to count objects up to 20. In kindergarten, we also learn how to add and subtract.
On this slide, you will find the behavior goals that we have for our students in our classrooms. With the school year coming to an end in about 8 weeks, we really need your help reinforcing these behavior goals. And we do go over these daily, what we expect of the students, just because they're getting a little bit anxious with summer coming in several weeks. So I'm just going to briefly go over the behavior goals for our classrooms, just as a review so that you can go over them with your student to help reinforce what we're doing here in the classroom. So basically, of course, we want them following our directions. It's essential that they listen closely the first time that we give directions so that we're not having to waste instruction time continuously repeating. We also need them staying in their own personal space, and if they need something, they need to be raising their hand. Due to the safety protocols for COVID, they cannot be out of their personal space just because we need to keep our distance. We also ask that students are able to clean up after themselves. We're working on being responsible, and we've talked about keeping a clean work environment, which means that if they have papers around their desk, they pick those up. If they have any trash, that's thrown away. Also, we're working on being organized by keeping our desks nice and neat. We also have on here completing their work, so we really try to make sure that all students have completed their assignments. Please remember to check their Seesaw account in the evenings, and sometimes they may get a little behind in class and aren't able to finish a specific assignment. So if you could help us out with that, we would greatly appreciate it. Also on here is I can help and teach others, and I can solve conflict with others. So we talk about having a safe and happy learning environment in the classroom, and that is part of that. We have on here also, I can persevere when something is difficult. So we've talked about the word perseverance, and the counselor has also talked to our students about it. So we basically just don't want them giving up. We want them to keep trying, even when things are difficult. They might be able to tell you about the learning pit that we're learning about as a strategy to helping them with their learning. They know that things aren't always easy, but they know that they also have to persevere and get through it until they are able to succeed. Also on here, we can do the right things even when no one is looking. So we've talked about how we always need to be doing the right thing so that everyone stays safe and on task. I can make someone else feel special. We've talked about saying kind things to other people, and also we've talked about helping others in a safe way as we can, so that they can feel special and feel like they're a part of our classroom community. I can use my words to tell how I am feeling. So we actually worked on a text set a few weeks ago that was about feelings, and I think your student would be able to tell you that it's okay to have different feelings at different times and that they should never feel afraid to voice the way that they are feeling. I can take turns and share. We don't get to do too many group activities or small group activities with everything going on, but we have taught the students that we need to be taking turns and sharing when it's appropriate. I can learn new skills. They know that they are learning new skills daily from subject to subject, and they should be able to share with you at home the things that they are learning. We're talking about learning targets and success criteria in the classroom for each subject, so they should be able to verbalize their learning to you. I can use good manners. We constantly talk about that. Ways that we can use good manners would be saying please and thank you, yes ma'am, no ma'am, all of those things that I'm sure you're already teaching your child at home. I can ask questions if I don't understand. Okay, so we really are trying to encourage students to let us know when they're not understanding something so that we can work through that together as a team so that they are able to be a successful learner. And the last one is I can calm down if I get upset. So we've talked about some ways that we can have some coping skills to where if they get upset about something, and they can, get back on track with what it is that they're supposed to be doing in a calm manner. On this slide, you will see upper and lowercase letters of the alphabet. You may notice that these are not in alphabetical order. They are on the page at random. This is so that we can basically tell if students are able to produce the uppercase name of each letter and the lowercase name of each letter. They also should be able to produce the sound that each letter makes. We really want to make sure that students are not just memorizing the alphabet in order. They should be able to produce the name and the sound at any given time for any given letter without having to go back through and sing the alphabet song or see the alphabet in order to know what each letter is. It's going to be very essential that your student knows all of their letter names and sounds, especially the sounds, because that comes into play when they are trying to write and read words. They are able to blend the sounds that will help them be able to figure out what the word is, and it will also be able to help them spell the word the best that they can when they are writing. You will notice that this is on the student's report card. At the end of each 6 weeks, we do have to test to see how many letter names that they know and how many letter sounds that they know. So you may notice that your student has already mastered this skill. You may have noticed in the past that they have not yet mastered all of the letters and sounds. So be on the lookout on their report card to see how many letter names that they know and how many letter sounds that they know. On this slide, you will find the kindergarten high-frequency words that are taken directly out of our benchmark phonics lessons. These are words that students should be able to read as soon as they see them. They shouldn't have to spend the time to blend them out. Students should also be able to write these words so that when they are writing, they spend less time trying to figure out how to spell a word because they will automatically already know how to spell the word. This would be greatly appreciated if you could help your child with these words at home. Very simple, just put the list in front of them and they can read them word by word. Also, you can call out a few words and have them practice spelling the words correctly. On this slide, you will see numbers from 1 to 20. This kind of goes along with what we were just talking about with the letters of the alphabet. You will notice that these numbers are not in numerical order. They are at random. Your students should be able to read, write, and represent all numbers from 1 through 20. By represent, I mean that if we give them the number 10, they should be able to show us a picture that has 10 objects, or they should be able to get 10 objects out and set them on their desk. Please make sure that your students are writing and practicing their numbers at home. We see many numbers written backwards in kindergarten, which for the most part is a developmental skill, but it would be of great help if you could have your children at home writing their numbers out, just because the more that they practice writing them correctly, the more that they will be able to remember how to correctly form the numbers.
On this slide, you'll see an example of a kindergarten report card. On the top left corner of the first page, it says the Mastery Standard Scale. For each objective, your child will be receiving an I for insufficient, which means that the student is not making progress toward the standard, or they may get a P for progressing. That means the student is beginning to and occasionally does meet the standard as described. And they can also receive an M for mastery, meaning the student consistently meets the standards as described. So those are the different standards that your child will receive for each objective. And if you look down, it has the objectives divided by subjects: language arts, composed of reading and composition, and then we also have math, science, social studies, physical education, and behavioral expectations and work habits. Um, so on behavioral expectation and work habits, their standards are broken up into U for unsatisfactory, N needs improvement, S satisfactory, and E excellent. And if you also look at the report card, some of the boxes are grayed out. They're colored in gray, and that just is telling you that those standards are not being tested for the first 6 weeks, maybe the second 6 weeks, or the third 6 weeks. So if there's a gray area, that means that we have not tested for that area at the moment. And then when you see the white boxes, those are the objectives that will be tested for that 6 weeks.
This slide is just a friendly reminder about attendance expectations. Regular attendance is crucial for success in elementary school. Absences do add up. Even if your child misses just a few days here and there, his or her grades are likely to suffer. So you may think, oh, it's just one day, they won't miss that much, but just think about all the different things that the students learn on a daily basis that they would be missing out on. And it's also essential to know that if they miss just one day, it's very hard for them to catch up and fill in those learning gaps. Elementary attendance affects reading. So each day we practice reading in the classroom through guided reading. So just by missing one day, that can affect their reading level just from not being able to practice their reading skills. Frequent absences in elementary school have been shown to significantly affect a student's reading skills. So please just try your best to make sure that your students are getting to school. If they're sick, of course, keep them home, but please, if for any other reason, if you can help it, please do not keep them home from school. Make sure that they're coming so that they're not missing out on learning.
Some online resources that you and your child can utilize for extra practice are Waterford. There is a Waterford reading program that consists of letters, letter sounds, reading, and there is also a Waterford math component, which helps your child count, add, subtract. And then we also have Raz Plus, which holds a lot of books that your child is able to read on their level. And if we put any assignments in there, they're able to do those as well.
Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this presentation. We greatly appreciate all of your support in helping your student become a successful learner. It's our hope that providing this information to you again about 8 weeks before the end of the school year, that you continue to have clarification on what your students are learning in the classroom, as well as having the ability to help us at home so that they can be a successful learner. It's our goal that all students are able to master all of the skills that we've talked about by the end of kindergarten. So we will keep working really hard over the course of the next 8 weeks so that they can be successful when they get to first grade next year. Thank you so much.